All right, hello, hello. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Looks like you can. I just want to make sure the sound is going through. Yeah, they can hear me too, I think. Sorry about the late start today. It's a Monday. It's a Tuesday Monday. Um, my neighbor, she had a tree fall in her house, so she's getting the shingles put back on. So yeah, the time that we were supposed to take everybody, drop them at work, school, daycare. Yeah, they had my entire driveway closed down with a truck dropping off shingles. So you know how it starts. It's just one of those days. And then got back. I was like, oh my god, I'm late. And of course, Kip hadn't eaten too. So sorry about that. Get a little bit of a late start today, and we got some decent movement out there in the market so far. Um, Overall, I mean, obviously, it's a little bit different of a start. Just being that it is what's up, Bubba? Um, Being that we had a holiday yesterday, going in today, it's going to be a little bit different, right? So, hold on, I just clicked the refresh on. There he is. Okay. Um, the rest of the world was pretty much open. The United States obviously lagging a little bit behind. So, looking at the markets, is it a true kind of normal weekend? Nah, not really. With the holiday, the markets have been open a little bit more, so it's not that traditional Monday morning look on a Tuesday. So we got to just kind of treat it as that. We've seen some movement in the pound, and it's decent, right? 82 up versus the dollar, 88 versus the yen. Euro pound down about 20. We had talked about that last week, seeing some pound strength roll back into the market. The dollar really hasn't started doing much yet. You can see it's down a little bit versus the euro and the pound, down just slightly versus the yen, down pretty decently against the Swiss, more or less flat against the CAD, flat against the Aussie, so not too much there either. The data this morning, obviously yesterday, slower morning. Oops. There you go. On Monday, you can see you've got a little bit of data, GDP for, again, China, looking good. Today, bunch of different data out there. A lot of green on the board, right? Seen a lot of green. The claim account looked like it was pretty good. Average earnings index also up decently. That looked great. German economic sentiment was negative last time, positive too. Also, some great sentiment there as well. CAD CPI. Woo. CAD CPI. Month over month, showing down. That's what the expectation was. So that should have been factored into the market. But looking on a yearly basis, still going higher. Trim going higher. And then again, Empire State Manufacturing. This is the big surprising one, right? Everything else, for the most part, has been pretty decent. This is a big minus, right? It's kind of a big minus. I think a lot of people are going to be scratching their head this morning, be like, whoa, it was down before. It was supposed to be not as down before, so, not too bad. But minus 32.9 is kind of a number. You're like, whoa, what happened there, right? That's kind of a bigger number. And again, it is manufacturing. They're kind of trying to get ahead of the curve, right? You don't want to overly manufacture, and then you got to store it, and that's where you have tons of supply problems, and it changes all the price around. So, manufacturing is its own chess game in itself. But again, seeing it down that much, kind of an interesting story there, right? Kind of an interesting story. So that's not the greatest. We're gonna the common CPI for CAD came in at 6.66 and a little bit higher last time to 6.8. So again, I'm wondering if CAD is going to be a similar scenario to what we see in Australia. Sometime today, and again, it listed as tentative, and this is how they're always. Looks like we're going to be getting a BOJ outlook report on monetary policy. Most likely that's going to be super late tonight, if not tomorrow morning. Very curious to see how that one turns out, right? Are we going to get continued bullish sentiment with the yen? We've heard more, for the first time in a decade, it's not been negative. So we have gotten some pretty decent comments. So probably a late night thing, but we'll see what happens when the U.S. gets fully on board here. Again, the market's just opened a little while ago. People are rolling in. I got Melissa in a little bit late today, because of all the driveway blocking. So, it's just a slow start, for everybody across the board. We should probably see a little bit more coming in, though. Again, strength one way or the other. Going into tomorrow, that's where we have our kind of our big data for the week, right? The PPI data. Now, again, you take 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and there was CPI and PPI and PCE price index and all these releases related to inflation that nobody really paid attention to. Nobody knew what they meant. Nobody knew what to do with them, and now everybody's an expert on inflation, right? What do these numbers look like? Yeah, the PCE and the PPI and all that. So the PPI was always kind of one of those ones that was just a little bit more hidden in there, but still a very decent release. All right. So tomorrow morning at 8:30, the data on it is kind of mixed. The core coming down, which is again not bad. Core retail sales, that's not really what we want to see come down. Again, retail sales, that is kind of what has driven us thus far. Losing that all of a sudden is kind of not what we want, right? We want retail sales to stay strong. Again, the U.S. spender is it's been a big help, right? That's kept us from the recession. But if people are already, manufacturing's tanking, and again, the retail sales numbers, people are like, yeah, we're not spending anymore because, recession, everything bad. That's kind of where all the pieces start to tumble rather quickly. So again, you typically want to see that a little bit better. Um, retail sales overall. And again, when we talk about core versus retail here, very important distinction too. Remember, when you look at the core number, they're removing, excluding automobiles, right? When we talk about other core numbers, it's excluding food and energy, right? So in this one, core is good, but again, retail sales. Look at this, right? Numbers are there, and I can tell you right now, looking for cars, it's a crazy, crazy environment out there with cars right now. So, we'll take it for what it's worth. But those are both pretty big numbers. So absolutely something that we need to kind of look at and focus on for tomorrow. All right. As far as news goes, mostly just rehashes. I don't think there's anything in here that is too, too concerning. Japan talking a little bit. We'll see if we can get more of a statement coming out of them sometime today. Like I said, it's probably going to be late tonight. I think that's gonna be really where we kind of look for it. I'm not concerned about this one. Besides that, it's just rehashes of what the news releases were. If there's nothing there, year for inflection, that's great. We don't anticipate using the full 20 billion euros. Yeah. So, I mean, really nothing over here that I'm looking at. Germany sees high risk of renewed trade tensions. Yep, I absolutely see that one. This also, now let's see, who is this with? China. Obviously, Russia and Ukraine, but the U.S. and China. I did actually see there was an article, or I don't know if it's an article, whatever it was. I saw it in kind of my newsfeed. Basically, there was, I don't know if it came from the War College, and I'm sure if you guys looked at it, you can see it. Basically, there's been a lot of talk in the aggression. Chinese jets have gone over Taiwan, and it's definitely something that it's getting more and more headlines. That kind of China's hostility, with Taiwan and the United States saying that we will protect them, even though they're not internationally recognized as being sovereign. The most recent one, the first one was basically that the U.S. that the U.S. could stop China, but definitely at great expense. It would vastly weaken the Navy. But today, out of the War College, basically there was a different kind of sentiment put out there. And again, I'm sure that it wasn't lost on China. Basically, they said that the United States could not actually win a naval battle against China. That if you look throughout history, there are very few instances where technology was able to outmaneuver sheer numbers. And China has a larger navy. It's expected to get even larger and grow in, I guess, exponentially more in the next 20 years than the United States. And that history has shown us in the past that there's only a couple times, I think 3 in history, where technology outpaced numbers. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think technology is great, but I thought that was a very interesting stance. And I'm wondering if that will help embolden China at all. The fact that now a U.S. military college of some sort basically said that, yeah, we can't win that one. Where everything else thus far has been like, yep, there's no way, we always win, right? So yeah, we'll see. And again, that's why you're seeing statements like this about where was it? The trade tensions. I think that's going to lead to greater trade tensions. So let's roll into the charts. VIX. So right now, again, you guys can see here, we were sitting there Friday, and then all of a sudden, boom, we go right into Tuesday, right? Because of the holiday, markets were not open. The VIX took a little bit of a jump. And again, not necessarily anything too surprising. Reason why is because, again, markets are closed. They're not able to react to anything that we hear out there. I wouldn't say that any of it, again, am I super concerned? Do I think today is going to be a massively down day? Nah. The VIX is, again, with the markets closed, people feel like they're handcuffed a little bit. It's a common thing to jump up. Now, we haven't really had any news besides the manufacturing that really could kind of lead us anywhere. And again, manufacturing, although negative, can be taken as a positive for the overall indices. Right now, ES has just turned positive. NQ is pretty close. Russell's super, super close as well. So I wouldn't say that there's any factors out there right now that are major driving themes that I'm like, that's it. Today's going to be a record down day. And I actually did have this conversation with Melissa this morning too, talking about, looking at a year in review. Last year, obviously the markets took a kind of a beating towards the end. But what about this year? With the Fed slowing down, is there more room for down, or have we found a bottom? Particularly in her field, that's always something that comes up. Are accounts going to grow, or are they going to shrink this year? And I think overall, I think it probably will be more of a positive year. Like I said, the 0.25s aren't bad. We've been able to stomach it. We've seen those in the past. The dollar. So the dollar. Basically, if you look here from Tuesday morning, you can see yesterday, really not much movement. And again, being a lower volume day, the rest of the world was open, but without that U.S. influence, we really didn't get much. It was a bounce between 102.60 and 102.30. Nothing earth shattering there. Now, this morning, we have seen a drop of about 50 cents in the dollar. Again, since the European market opened, you can see here, well, really 5:30, I guess. European market opened, pushed it up, 5:30 reversal. Kind of, again, same channeling. I mean, we've seen this before in the past, right? Kind of pushed it high in the curve, right? Ran into the same sellers. I mean, again, we can draw this easily right there. There's your confirmation. What did it hit at 5:30? 5:30 into an area of sellers. I mean, textbook, right? Textbook. And it turned and rolled back down again. Now, we've gone from high on the curve to more low on the curve. So we know we have buyers stepping in here. Again, what we typically see when we roll into the U.S. session is dollar strength coming back into the markets, as well as we tend to see oil tend to do better when the U.S. trader comes online. So we'll see what happens in really the next 30 minutes. As I said, there's not really, I don't know. There was nothing this morning really that was considered like a major, like this is a huge market mover. So we may just see kind of the markets kind of level out in preparation for PPI tomorrow. Okay. But with us kind of hitting these buyers down here, I actually wouldn't be surprised if we started finding some buying and we start pushing back up again. As the narrative is, into the U.S. market's okay, manufacturing going down. Right now, I'm sure the manufacturing is hurting it a little bit, but that should wash out pretty soon. Looking at commodities. Yeah. Remember we talked about how, gold, or not gold. Oil tends to go up a little bit in the U.S. session. Well, it's going up. Not tons. I mean, it's not not looking at this and being like, yeah, look at it, it's flying. It's not flying, right? It's not flying. But it's still at a level where, again, we're over $80, right? You got to look at that and be like, up $1.41, up $80. What's happening? Seeing natural gas at $3.60 again. You're like, hey, what's up? You're up 7% again. What's going on here? And again, there was just articles this weekend talking about how, it's funny. I laughed this and I meant to screenshot it so I could read it back to you. But basically, it was a statement about how the warm European winter is keeping Putin from his Trump card. And I was like, ha ha, nice play on words. I was like, yeah, the Trump card. I'm like, yes, that was a thing before the guy was president. So, yeah. Yeah. Commodities not loving it. Gold and silver both down a little bit. We talked about that last week. Starting to get short as the beginning of the week rolled in. Looking for more of a swing position in both those commodities, and that still kind of holds firm. Like I said, with PPI tomorrow, we'll see. Today may be some pre-positioning, and we'll see where the European market takes it. But overall, not really unhappy with where we're seeing gold and silver. Again, we did call for that one to be pushing to the downside. So it's kind of doing what it's supposed to be doing. Let's see where we got. Hold on. What? Melissa just sent me a message. One sec, guys. No, it's good, but okay. All right, so let's roll into Aussie. So Aussie right now, again, European reversal. We saw that on the dollar chart. Kind of shot it straight down, 5:30 reverse back up again. Where we are right now with the Aussie dollar, again, we could take this one, and really the bottom would be down there. But if we're drawing here, you can see there's a lot of sellers up here. It is a confirmed level, right? But it's bounced off 1, 2, almost 3 times. So is it the ideal place to take a reversal? Not really. Could it? Sure. It's a session open. It's a 50% retracement from the last high to low. There is sellers in there. They are confirmed levels, but it's not the freshest level. Price has obviously been there more than a few times. Whenever a level gets hit, you got to question how many sellers are really left or how many buyers are still left in that area. So that's kind of where it is. I'd say overall on this one, it is technically 50% is no man's land where you have to look for a really good setup. This, unfortunately, really doesn't qualify for a really great setup. Could it be a reversal? Sure. It could. But just know it is definitely a lower probability-based trade at this point from this level. I'd really kind of like to see it get to one of the two extremes. The top level of this, I don't actually mind this one. I actually kind of like this one. Again, these were kind of hits from last week. This level is somewhat confirmed. So I do think if we're able to rally price back up again, this would be a level that again, depending on what's going on, how it gets there, what it looks like on arrival, 70.11, I think could be a decent level for us to take a short from. Right now, I'd be very cautious with this 69.75. If it was the first hit, if it was over here, I'd be more into it. But the fact that we've really tested these guys multiple times, even on a day with not a lot of people there, remember, A lot of levels like this are institutional levels. They're all automated. The U.S. bank doesn't need to be open. They'll have machines trading it for them. So makes me a little bit more leery to be taking shorts from this one. Maybe it turns and rolls all the way back down, and it's like, joke's on you. I got in this trade. Again, typically when something gets hit this many times, we don't like it as much. Now, as far as downside, there is a level down here. I'm a little bit more cautious with this downside. Let me explain why. The way that this candle formed, right? It's got a very, very long wick, small body, and kind of left, but it didn't explode to kind of the ferocity as well as it hasn't been tested yet. So I'm a little bit more leery on the downside of this one. If we're able to kind of chunk through and just grind back down, we do have these 2 wicks. And again, a Harry Potter trade below. Actually, bring this right back up to a 50 or on a 30. So we're still waiting for a level much, much lower. I'd really like this just to kind of, I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for it just to grind down and kind of base in here and then grind lower. I don't know. A little bit dangerous here to do the Harry Potter here, but I definitely like the Harry Potter down here. So really kind of on my radar, you can see we do have the alarm set for that one if it does break through. But right now, again, I think it's, I really need some type of a driving force, and it's more just basing sideways on this one. So again, you're looking for a short through this level. You could take one if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. It's 69.15, right? But again, know that it is a little bit more aggressive. Aussie yen. So here's the Aussie yen trade from Friday. Again, we talked about that. It was over. You can see over the weekend, it kind of came back up, hit it, and it's kind of, again, it's more basing sideways. All the grind from yesterday had a little bit of a pop. Europeans stepped in this market and kind of just pushed it and then just held. And now it's holding. It's not trending in either direction. So, again, kind of a confusing level. This is very similar to the Aussie dollar as well. You can see we've already had the one hit. We've already had a second hit. We've already had a kind of a third hit again, and it hasn't really exploded off. If it comes in and hit again, what holds this back? Probably not much. And there's not really a clean level above it. So, right now, we kind of need a new level to be put in on this one. We may get that later on today, right? If we can get some type of monumental blockbuster kind of statement out of the BOJ, we could potentially get something tonight that gives us at least somewhat of a strong trend, strong bounce. But right now, again, you can see, right? We knew we had buyers in here. That's what they used, and we're kind of in the same range. Let's run it top to bottom. Will we get any artificial selling in here? No. Look, chop right through the 23. So all those poor people got stopped out. It came higher, grabbed the supply level, which again was definitely not a fib level. You can see this level's probably gone and not really the best 50. So probably not a whole lot that we can use with this one right now. Yeah, unfortunately, this is the best we got. We knew we had sellers there, but with the new bottom in there, put in Friday in the morning, it's probably the best thing. So let's see, how far do we got? It's about 63 pips. 63, unfortunately, is daily ATR is 120 on this one. I don't know that we have the catalyst for this one today. Yeah, I don't. On any other given day, right? If this was a standard Tuesday after we've had the markets open for a bit, I'd say that 64 is not bad. We could potentially bounce down there, have this one turn and roll, and then have it shoot back up again. But unfortunately today, I mean, the big news is PPI is much bigger than anything we have today. I feel like that's going to be more what people are focused on. I don't know if we can take that drop that far and then still, have a trade before, obviously, the European session. Ideally, I'm kind of wondering. We know we have, obviously BOJ rate statement is not going to change anything, the rate decision. I'm wondering if maybe something along the lines here, this balance of trade late tonight, or maybe this inflation number. I'm wondering if we start to just kind of grind our way down to it, if we can potentially get over here and then have a trade set up for the year-over-year inflation rate. Not that I think the BOJ is really going to get into an environment where it's going to start going crazy with rate raises or anything like that. I don't think we're anywhere close to that. But if we do start seeing this kind of tick up and it looks like it's a range where it's like, they may do something, they may have, that could, If it comes in disappointing, again, it could definitely lead it down, but it could also lead it back up again. So, I think there's probably something going on over here. I don't think they're not changing the interest rate. I mean, I think everything is telegraphed with this. I don't think there'll be any questions with that. The balance of trade, maybe a little bit. Maybe it turns out worse and we see it bounce off of that. But right now, there's not enough strength, right? This level, not great. This level, not good. It's kind of chopped back and forth because of the holiday. We really needed to get to a new level, and the best one we got right now is 88.83 in that one. Euro dollar, again, high on the curve. We talked about this one. This is our drawing from last week. We're like, hey, listen, somewhere up in there, it's probably going to turn and roll. It did. We had this one come in Sunday night. Again, this is a Sunday night level right there, right there. And that's what we're bouncing off of. So, unlike the Aussie dollar trade, I think this one's probably a little bit better. There definitely could be a short in here. And the reason I say that is because, again, we kind of have that 9:30 session roll with areas of sellers coming in already. 1 to 3 only brings it back to there. It's only a 10 pip risk on this one. It's having some problems right now. But I don't think that's necessarily a horrible trade. I do think we are basing. I do think buyers are going to come in right here. Right? Again, look at those wicks. Here, higher, and then a pop off of it. I do think there's probably some buyers in there. So if you're going to get into something like this, again, it's a high of the curve kind of session roll type base trade. Small risk, only 9 pips. I think you need to be pretty cautious with this one. I don't know that I'd hold it much farther than that, just because I think it's going to run out of some steam. I think buyers will come in. I think it's trending sideways, and I think it needs to prepare for PPI and retail sales tomorrow. PPI and retail sales are two of my favorite. I say they're my personal top favorite. Retail sales is definitely a top 5 mover. PPI used to. I like this where it is high. I do think that, again, I think we could have some dollar strength holding firm this high up top. As well as we know the reason why this is up is because of this, right? This big surprise is helping. But at this point, it's profit-taking time. It's already factored in now. We should start to see the dollar roll. Is Germany stronger than the U.S.? No, right? We should see it start to roll back to the downside. So do like this one right now. Again, you can click it right there if you want. Euro pound. Again, we saw that yen strength. I'm sorry, the euro strength come in, but it's not as strong as the pound. So we're seeing the yen weakness. Or I'm sorry, not the yen. I don't know why I keep saying yen. You're seeing the European weakness over on this side, right? All it has to do is the euro dollar has to catch wind that the euro is weak, and the euro dollar drops to the same size or drops at the same time. Now, there was an interesting bounce here at 6 o'clock. It did come back in. We had this level drawn from last week, and we saw it before and said, hey, listen, it did hit a 50% retracement level. It did have a nice explosion off. It hit that. It shot back up again, and now it's testing it again. So we've had our one hit, our 2 hits with a double, kind of a mirrored bottom, which, again, we don't like mirror bottoms, and it's coming in strong now. Can this 50 hold any longer? I'd say it's not a high probability. Again, 3 hits is typically not good. The way that it's a double wick there where we established and then, again, erased them, and now we're driving back into it again. I don't think there's going to be many more buyers left in this area. I feel like the 50 is out. I feel like the 61 is the next level that's coming in. That's going to be another continued push, about another 20-something pips down. That also goes back into the same story as the euro dollar, where it's, you're seeing areas of selling coming in, not necessarily areas of buyers coming in. Euro yen, also similar. And again, let me see. Could we run it? No, there's not a space. Well, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, do we play a failure on this one? No, you don't like this one, buds? What you doing, buds? What you got, huh? That could be somewhat of an aggressive trade for today. It's tiny, though. It's only 6 risk. There could be a potential Harry Potter trade in here. And again, this euro pound could set off the euro dollar when the euro dollar starts to collapse. That could also, again, it's kind of like catching a cold, right, with little kids, right? The euro pound caught the cold, passed it to the euro dollar, and then the euro dollar passes it back to the euro pound again. I can tell you all about that if you guys want. But the reason I'm looking at that is because there is a small zone here, snuck in, but with the 61.8. And again, it's a 61.8 now. People are going to look at that and be like, oh, look at that. It's a 61.8. There's a pivot right there. But look at the level, right? There's your level. There's 1. There's 2. There's a quick hit of 3. This is typically, again, this is hit number 4, and it's about 75% of the way to our profit target. Now, again, this is not big risk. It's only 6 for 18, so it's not a gigantic trade. I don't want to sway anybody on that one. But again, this driving back down and causing some problems at the 61.8. If the 61.8 fails, again, people are dumping the euro. That also is helping us out on this euro dollar. So again, we're punching through now, right? We're punching through now. We can get a base and a pullback. I think this could be a potential one if you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive today with this, we're shorting the euro. Euro yen. Again, we're running into invisible sellers here. I can drag this across. They were already there again. It's not a trade that we're willing to take again. We're waiting for, again, we talked about 40 pulling back. That was from last week. Trade was out, but look, hit again. Overall, again, this looks like it could also get that same contagion to the top side. Again, you're seeing European weakness. So European weakness, European weakness, European weakness across the board. I said, of all of them, I think the euro dollar is the best kind of setup on that one. But again, I'm just bringing this across because it's easy. The zone's there. This is not a zone we're looking to take shorts off of. It meets the narrative, sure. But it's not a trade that, not a trade that we're kind of looking at being like, yeah, it's a good one, right? Not there. Pound dollar. So pound taking off pretty well. And again, we know we had good pound data, right? You're seeing good data over here. And again, a little bit of dollar weakness coming in on this one. So again, seeing the pound rally. We talked about it. We had some levels. You can see, look, base, look, 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit. We was like, yeah, don't hold this one. There's your base. There's your punch through. Based in it again. Became the bottom. Took off again. So you can see how much action that level has gotten from there. We drew this last week. Talking about how the 78, there's not really a whole lot there. First time we really had much was up top. So nothing's changed. I would say that the pound dollar still's got some room to run in this one. Kind of like to get a little bit of help from this pound dollar. Although there's not a whole lot on a technical basis here to kind of help us, it would be nice if we could get some help from the pound dollar. Only because if we got some help here and the pound dollar did reverse, that means dollar strength is flooding back in, which also means that the euro dollar would also drop, meeting the narrative of that trade setup. So it's kind of like a little bit of help, right? Not necessarily the dollar, demanding it, but if we could get a little bit of weakness here, but not too much because we don't want that euro pound to drop. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. So got a little bit more run. I'll put a mark on this one, but again, it's not my favorite of areas. The one 123.40. Pound yen, also super boring and kind of the same scenario, right? I'm just going to extending it across. The trade was here from last week. We already saw it. You guys caught that. That was the one we talked about on Friday. 1 touch, 2 touches. There's your 3 right there. You're like, yep, no interest. There's your base, and there's your punch to the top side. So again, just showing you how much action that had. But once we get to 3, it becomes kind of like I don't want to trade anymore. Let's see. That was the old bounce off there. Pull that now. Let's see. On a near term, will we get any help? Not much has changed. We drew this last week talking about how there's this really kind of this whipsaw back and forth between the 61 and the 50. Kind of the same thinking. Yeah, it'd be nice to roll over. You'd see the euro yen also roll over at the same time. We don't really want to necessarily see some pound weakness in that one because, again, we want the euro pound to keep driving to the downside. It's probably the same setup. Right now, it's just, I would expect it to kind of roll back down a little bit. I mean, again, is this really, do we have like a major trend here? I mean, you could say that this is just sideways. We've kind of pulled up and we're out of the channel a little bit, but not enough. Not enough, unfortunately. Dollar CAD. Funny enough, there's the same level, right? Same level. We can adjust this a little bit, right? This Harry Potter still holds firm. We talked about it last week. This one on Thursday, it punched through and immediately it was just a news trade. So again, have not gotten a setup for this one. We hit this level again and hit this level again. So these guys over here at 34, 33, they're pretty rock solid. But how many times can they be rock solid at this point? So again, I'm going to throw an alert on this one now because we've hit it enough times now where this is becoming extremely high probability. What you doing? What you got? I'm gonna throw the alert on that one now. I love the fact that it hit it again this morning and rolled back down. So, right now, poor 23s. All those guys would have got stopped out on that 23. Whoops. Can we get to, let's see, 109. What are you doing, buds? Buds, what you doing? Um, what are you doing? What you doing? Is it 10:06? 3 o'clock on Friday. See, buds, I know that hurts. Come on, I don't really want to put you up here. Here, you want this? You love this toy. I think that this move is justified. Again, we're seeing oil up, so they're getting strength from oil. The manufacturing data was absolutely weak. So again, this is absolutely a justified move. This is the market readjusting to it. I'd like to see a reversal in this one. I do think there's a reversal due in this one. But looking at these zones, I got to ask myself, yeah, there's a little bit of a kind of a reversal here. But this was Sunday night. Yeah, there's something to be said about Sunday nights and where they are. But, if you think about the big players in the markets, are they going to be huge at that time? Not really. And we're typically looking for big time moves. And again, it was on a Sunday night into a holiday Monday. So it's not really, the time of formation is not the ideal time of formation. The level a little bit lower over here. This is Friday at the European Open. So again, that's better. It's not main session for either of the two pairs involved with it, but it did have a decent move off of it. So you kind of got to respect it, right? That level's at 133.36. It's got about another 40 pips to get down there. With the scenario right now, I'd like that for a reversal point if we can get down there later on today. If the overall feeling is going to be that, listen, this is definitely weak dollar data. We're getting more weak dollar data tomorrow. The Fed's not going to raise interest rates. Again, I still think that the market is, fooling themselves that the Fed is done and the Fed is going to cut interest rates here, I think is the wrong. I think the market has to acknowledge that because the Fed has been nothing but 100% clear that that's, what they are going to do. I guess they can surprise me and continue to think that. Think that the Fed's going to do nothing, but yeah, I'd say this is not bad. Question is, do we flatline here? Is really the question. Being 1030, again, I would call this a junk level. But again, profit taking has to come in at 1030. So that's rough. What's the risk on this one? 15 pips. I do like that. I wish this would have done this at 133. I like 133 much better. Oh, it's not even that bad of a push. A nice little confirmation there too. And nice push out. Look at the push. Look at this. That's the type of bottom we like. It pulled up, it came back, it barely grazed that level of risk. And again, using the bottom of the two wicks here, or the two bodies, I mean, and then it exploded off. Ugh. Gotta say, overall, I gotta say I'm a fan of that. I mean, I do like it. Yeah. Ugh. I do like it. So I would say look for this one. Ideally, I'd love to have this at a session open, session close, some type of a news release, or again, like a U.S. market open or a reversal time frame. I mean, those would be like, man. I wish we were down there now. That would definitely be pull the trigger on it. Keep that one on your radar, guys. I think that's a decent spot. I like the confirmation off of it. I like the timing of it Friday. Again, it should be going down right now based off today's fundamental based data and news. And again, the levels that are there to stop it we're in such off hours that I'm not necessarily concerned because there was not necessarily any big players to get in there. They are probably smaller levels that have a higher probability of being able to be broken. So, kind of my take on it. Dollar Swiss. We know dollar Swiss is down big. And magically, it's kind of like we're seeing a pop here. We talked about running this one all the way back down again. Yesterday really didn't help us much. And then again, the European data was pretty decent. We just continue to see it deteriorate to the downside. Where we're right now, we're taking a little bit of a bounce. You're seeing at 10 o'clock. And again, this is a time when we do see dollar strength tend to pop back in again. We're starting to see it bounce. Let me see. Is it doing it over here too? Yeah, it's doing it right here. Look. It's doing it on a level. Here, take this. Take this. And take this. What's that euro dollar trade look like? There you go. Your euro dollar trade is now out. So, told you had to be fast on that one. Told you had to be fast. But yeah, you're out there. So there's 30. Yeah, there's 30. Shame that one turned early. Oops, was off probably a little bit. How much did we miss that one by? Oops. 7. All right, let's see if we're gonna get any help with this one. Interesting spot there. What you want, butts? 92.76. Let's clean this one up from last week. I like this one lower. I know it turned there. And again, it's a 9:30 turn, so I know why it turned there. Wish it was a little bit lower. Why do you want to talk to the microphone now? I don't. If this kind of turns and reverses back, I don't know that that level is going to be able to hold. Yeah, it's 9:30. I know why it moved because of the U.S. coming online after a holiday. I like the 91.80 much better than I like that little zone. So I think it really needs to come down in base. I think that's a much better turning area. Why are we hitting buttons? No, stop. What you doing? What you doing? Yeah, yeah. I think some of the opportunities out there are a little bit better. But I do like this 91.80. So if we can come down in this level and base and then kind of get a little pop, I think it'll be pretty decent. You can see different, again, two different news. We know tomorrow morning what retail sales and PPI is going to be pretty decent. I think watch this level for tomorrow morning. Again, this is 8:30, so it's on before we talk, right? No, we're not here. Get it back down. Play with sister's toys. Play with that. I like this level for a dollar long trade tomorrow. Where we're at right now, depending on if we can form a new bottom or form a new base, this could be a really nice trade tomorrow morning. As I said, the dollar Swiss is a weird one. It like doesn't move or. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. There we go. Sorry. Buttons were hit. Buttons were hit, and I lost the entire desktop. I think it's. Wait. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. What's happening? All right, sorry. He hit the Windows lock key, and like everything was moving. It was all gone for a second, and then I couldn't move the mouse. All right. Again, dollar Swiss can be a weird one, but for news, it does do some clean setups. I think with either of these two things right in near trajectory to that 91.80, I think both of those could be pretty decent levels. No, we're not going to hit that either. Dollar yen, again, no trend in this one. We can take the fibs. Is that a high? Yeah, we're going to use that one. We've had a couple setups in this one. Running this one down, you can see the 23.6 has been hit a couple times now. It actually wasn't necessarily a horrible trade, right? We knew we had a level of basing in there, a little bit of a front run, but again, not a good front run because there was 1, 2, and 3 hits on that one. You can see it even did a fourth, so not ideal. We did come back up, and again, 23s got in late last night. Kind of got faked out, went back to break even at 1:30 this morning, and then went right back to break even at 5:30. So again, a little bit riskier of a trade, and it's kind of not it's 1 to 3 right now, but it's finding the buyers. Kind of a sandwich, right? Really between a rock and a hard place, right? If you're looking at this level that was confirmed there, boom, 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 boom. Not a whole lot of room. We're talking about a whopping, I'm going to guess that's 48 pips, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not, you know, kind of a rock and a hard place for this 23 Sixers. You can see on this one. Oh, stop. No. Back to unplugging all the microphones again. 1 to 3 range on this one is sitting right there. So it's a little bit deep going through on a technical basis. So not the ideal short this morning. Let's see. It's Sunday. It's a late night trade. I think watch that one too. Let's put these up here. Set this one up for the week. There. So right now, what I would do is I would say, or I'm looking at this one saying, listen, my 130 is up here. 130, as you guys know, big psychological level. Down here at 127.50. Not surprising that it did it on a 50. We did have a little bit of reversal late last night. Again, super late last night. We're kind of in the middle of the range with 2 major news releases, both retail sales and PPI. And then again, building permits is not super big, but there's nothing else that day. So again, not as concerned about that one, but we may have the ability to use that one as well. I think this is the big play tomorrow. We see if we're back up in this range. I think 130 or what is this? 127.50. I said, yeah, 127.50. I think either of these two are great little news setups for tomorrow morning. Whoops. Right. Either of those two are pretty decent, but we're sitting right in the middle right now, so no play on this one right now. TLT pop in the day again. We saw dollar weakness, so not surprised at that one. Crude oil. Yeah, crude oil is heading right up again. So we're playing with this right now, which I'm not a fan of. Right, that's what we're dealing with right now. Let's go this a little bit higher on this one. Yeah. So 1, 2. Don't need this. I'm trying to pull this. I'm back on a 4-hour chart. That's why you're like, wait, why is there a level there? Cross. Oof. We're at a decent spot. Again, this is a 4-hour chart. That's why it's like, how far back are you going on this one? This is like November, right? Again, it is a 50. It's kind of been front run twice on there. Well, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So this is hit number 4. We know we don't necessarily have a clean sell level up until 83.63. There is some drama in here. And again, there was a push up into that 82.65. I'm not liking 82.65. I like 80. I like 75 much better on this one. But on a 4-hour basis, we are high in the curve. There are sellers up here. But again, absolutely not a fresh level. This has been kind of smacked around a few times. Not to say that that can't be the reversal point. It absolutely can be. But again, every time gets a little bit weaker and higher probability of a failure on that one. So, high last time. Same thing. I like that we've driven all the way back up. So my thinking on this one, again, high to low, we're in the 50% range. So we're kind of in like the no man's land, no natural bias one way or the other, up or down. But it is an area where we've seen sellers come in. 80 is absolutely a big psychological level. If retail sales kind of tanks tomorrow, right, and PPI is not horrible, like I said, we know the Fed is raising, and again, they ignore it except when something like this comes in. Again, could be showing more signs of a crashing economy, which again should be lower demand on oil. Should give us the opportunity to potentially get a sell on this one. So again, the fundamentals are kind of matching up with the technicals on this one, but a lot of it's going to depend on what the data looks like tomorrow. Again, being the holiday week, we're a little bit slow to get started on oil. But I would say overall, again, kind of seeing where it's at. I'm kind of leaning more towards a short in there, but I'm just leery because we've been to this level multiple times. And you're kind of seeing it turn off of there. Again, I'm back down on a 30-minute from the higher time frames. How much risk on that is a little bit much. 1 to 3, but see, look, I mean, not a bad draw though, right? I mean, if you look to see where price would need to go back down to, all it's going back down to is the lows from yesterday. It's not a big move. It's not, technically, when I say technically, I mean like on a technical basis, it's not really a bad pullback. All it's doing is playing with the 23.6, right? It's only pulling with this level right here. So it's actually not a bad trade. It's not that bad of a setup. So again, I don't do oil as much as, some of the other guys out here. If it was a currency, I'd be like, it's not bad. Again, currencies have a little bit different fluctuation, but, it wouldn't be bad, right? Again, we're high on the peak. This is kind of a negative that it's been here multiple times, but on the larger scale now, it is a 50%. It is, in the 10:30 time frame, so we would be looking for reversals right now. There's a lot of factors why that's a decent short. So again, if you guys like oil, there's a short there. I'm just a little bit hesitant because it's been there like 3 or 4 times. Natural gas. Yeah. So we made it close before it retraced, right? So we made it all the way down to here, and then this is where the weekend happened. And again, the fundamentals change it. So we'll see if it's able to come back down again. We talked about this before, how like the weekend can mess it up. Like the holiday, really it comes back down to the holiday kind of threw things off. We had a little bit of a gap on Friday, right? A little bit of a gap up, but not too shabby. Let's see what the reversal should look like. And again, this is the third hit, so it should be getting smaller at this point. Yeah. We're kind of at the peak a little bit, right? By doing the followed moves. And again, it's about what? 85%, 90%. This last move went down to here. Again, about 85, 90%, right? 2 perfect ones, and then 85%, 85%. So I wonder if this is going to be, if this will be the new push, right? We'll readjust this pullback and go there, right? And again, that meets the context. We talked about 326. So that would be 322, pushing right back up into the 360 range. So kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's up 9%. I would say being up 9% today, probably more bound to be down tomorrow just because it's up so far outside of the curve right now. So yeah, take it for what it's worth. Gold. All right, so gold. Pretty excited about gold. All right, so gold. Here's your Monday. Here's your Monday. Here's your Sunday night, right? So we talked about getting short when the market's open on Sunday, that we were looking for this to pull down again, okay? Here is the Friday candle. Here's the Sunday. So we had one drive up. There's your red. There's your green. There's your red. So there's your upper bracket for the week, right? And you can see we've started to deteriorate back down again. We're back down into the 1909, right? We can delete this now. Let's pull this back up. You can see the 23.6 from the most recent low to high. We got plenty of room to run. Looking at the side over here, and again, these were from Friday. There's a little bit of a hiccup here, but this is 5 o'clock in the morning, right? We start to see dollar strength continuing to go in, or the inflation numbers are pretty bad, showing that inflation is not rising. It's going the opposite direction. We should have continued push to the downside. So gold's kind of doing what we talked about in a swing trade. From its peak, we're down about $14. Nothing earth shattering, right? But a nice little trade from the top. So again, bearish thinking all week on this one, right? Silver. Again, silver is more than double. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It looks exactly the same. You can see the peak came in on Sunday night up top. And we also had a little confirmation that came in right there. Now, we missed it a little bit here late last night, and it looks like we just had a bit of a pullback. Yeah, it looks like it pulled right back into a 50. Let's see. A little bit off, right? Yeah, a little bit off, but we could see the sellers in there. So, you could see that there was absolutely without a doubt, you had something going on right there. And that's what we ran into for this morning. So, you can see that we are below the 24. And we talked about this last week, looking for this one to come back down through 24 base. And then even with the potential that maybe it gets down to the 23. Um, Man, can it run that far? Oof. Tomorrow would be a decent day between retail sales and PPI. We may get some movement in this one. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to stabilize and pull back up again. But again, we're below 24, so our thinking is bearish. So again, we talked about being let's see, Friday, Sunday is right there. As you can see, again, our thinking is bearish for the week on this one. This is more of a swing-based trade. But day one for us for U.S. trading session is looking good. It's down 1.5% already, so looking pretty decent so far. All right, this is that 24 mark. We were just highlighting 24, how the level's been used. Yeah. So let's look at the indices real quick. Looks like Apple having a good morning so far. Tesla also having a good morning. Right. I did see that there was some news on the Tesla truck, right? On the Cybertruck. I didn't see what it is. I literally saw I did see it like came through like right when I was dropping Jin off, so I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. Oh, it must have been this. Retail sales in China surged after price cut. That's probably what it was. That had to have been what it was, because that would have made sense, because I just dropped Jin off at 9:15. So yeah. So that's what it was. That Tesla's retail sales in China surged after price cut. So all right, that's what it was. Yeah, which means it will probably turn and roll back down again. We're actually at a level of a gap, so yeah, I look for that to turn and roll. But overall, everything's looking good. So ES is accelerating. So let's see what we got for the ES in here. 930 is probably there. Yes, it is. So a little bit more challenging. Again, we knew we didn't have any problems there. It's hard because your base is that's kind of where your base is. It didn't quite make it. You can see that the 915 is technically up, but not into an area of sellers. Yeah, you probably would have got a no entry. Again, 930, you can see it is a red bouncing back and forth. It got really, really close to a basing level. It just didn't hit. It got really close, guys. Sorry. And again, we see that a lot of times on Mondays. Also on the top side, again, case can be made that, hey, listen, there's your base on the top side of this. It's kind of tested right there. And we hit it. It kind of did some bounce back and forth. But let's drop this down to a 5-minute. Yeah, it should be more off the test. I don't think that would have made it. Let's see. I'll put it on there. Yeah, because it did go up. Let's see. 2 and nope. Made it to 2.25. Oh yeah, so this one would not have had enough room to run. It actually, I mean, it kind of followed what it's supposed to, right? The 915 candle was green. We were looking to short. It was in kind of a higher level area on the 15, not necessarily the 5, but on the 15 you could see it. Wasn't necessarily confirmed. It did go down, but unfortunately it turned. Again, it didn't have enough room before it was hitting the opposing zone on that one. So not necessarily the ideal setup on there. But you can see, I mean, again, the setup would have been short at the open if it popped up any higher, and it did. It came up, it popped, it grabbed it, and then shot down again on the 5-minute, right? Hit it, went all the way down to here, made it to 2.252. But we just didn't have enough room to be able to draw that trade out. The 3.1 was actually in the opposing zone, so not really the best setup. Where we're right now, again, it's a little bit on the positive side. Let's see, at 43. Yeah, we're playing. Let me go back up to 15. I was like, wait a second. Why are those candles so big? I know why. This is what we're playing with right now, so you guys know. Right there. And it's a 61.8. So, depending on how people drew this. That's what you're looking at right now. What? Don't poke yourself. No, you can't have this. What do you want this for? You cannot have that. So it's kind of at a 1030 reversal in the indices. Again, we're hitting a level. We're hitting a 61.8, so we're hitting things from bigger time frames. As far as an opening print goes, though, it wouldn't have qualified, unfortunately. It would not have actually tagged it to the top side. And even the downside, it did hit it, but it didn't go to the 1 to 3. Again, the 1 to 3 area was kind of breaking it, boxing off the top and bottom. Again, holiday. What are you going to do? NQ. NQ, though, a little different here. So we absolutely had a bottom that was confirmed and tested. There's the top, and you can see it came across. So this one actually did trigger for a long. Let's see. I can tell you this one's out just by the distance of it. 1 to 3 is right there. So not a again, not too much different. See, this one doesn't have the same base at the top, so I wouldn't necessarily been looking for a short. But you can see how it's past the 1 to 3. It makes it a better trade than ES because you can get a 1 to 3 in before you hit the opposing zone. The ES, you couldn't. The 1 to 3 from this level was unfortunately hitting the other side. So NQ was a better one. And again, the long is the one that won. Again, if this, then that. You can see that it blatantly went in there. So again, nice little trade, very, 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 very fast. We'll drop it down to 5 minute. It opened here, so it spiked. It's funny. It did hit the top side and went all the way. You can see it played between the two. So I guess it doesn't matter. You could have traded either way, but yeah, you literally could have traded this one either way, top or bottom. So yeah, because green, yeah. So if you're looking for the short, all right, thank you, buddy. No more playing with the things. I like the long better than the short, but it doesn't matter which one you traded. Both of them were fine. YM. All right, so let's see YM here. What we got? So 8:15, we were breaking through the bottom. So again, this is looking for a short. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to respect this one and say, hey, listen, there's a zone right here. Right? There's a nice little pop. This is I have it moved across, so at 8. Right? Maybe you got stopped out on that one. It would have been close. Right? Would have been close. See on a 5 minute. Yep, stop, please. Close. Maybe. I feel like stop. No more. No more. I know you enjoy that, but no more. Come here. Come Daddy's arms. This one would have been close. So again, we talk about trading this with an options product or trading with futures. Had you traded this one with futures, you may or may it's literally right where the top of the zone is. So you may or may not have gotten stopped down on it. I don't know. Again, like I said, that's going to depend on your individual broker how you set it up. If you use an options based contract, whether it be Nadex or just standard traditional options on an ETF, you probably were fine. Like I said, with options, you have the right to do something, not the obligation. You were at an area you would have been looking to go short this one. This one has moved enough, right? This would have been a nice little day trade. Nice little, again, I'm not going to go over how to trade it with options, but you guys kind of understand what I'm trying to say with it. You could have day traded, some options on this one pretty easy. So again, that would have been a win as well. Looking at the Russell, look at the Russell. Russell's all over the place. So same thing on this one. There would have been a confirmed level sitting right here. Question is, did it break through the top first or did it fall first? And at the same time, here would have been your confirmation on the bottom side. And it hit there. So let's bring this one down to the 5 minute and get a better read. So it looks like, yeah, bah. That's so close. Look at this. So dropping it all the way down. Actually, your 9:30 candle is here. So yeah, so you would have been looking for a short. It's funny, the 9:30 is the one that spiked through. So yeah, I would say, this one did the same thing. Options product, you were good to go in either direction. Obviously, we knew this was a level base, confirm, we're good to go. It tagged it and it took off. So I would say Russell, depending on if you played long or short. As I said, the other ones had long setups as well, which would lead me to believe that this would have been a better long setup, but you could have actually taken this one in both directions and played both ways as well. Um, going back down again. Yeah, like I said, ES would not have triggered, but you can see right now the ES short working out just fine. NQ, again, both sides triggered, so either the long or the short would have worked out fine. Are we at a reversal level? Not really. It's a little bit shy of one, right? But opening print, hands down, good to go with NQ. YM, right? YM, maybe you got stopped down on that one. You can see this is deteriorating very, very fast. This one probably has an overall target of down here. Like I said, with options, you crush that one. Getting decent. And then Russell. Russell whipsawed back and forth between the two zones. And again, I took it here, right? This is where the confirmation was, but there could also have been a case made that hey, listen, there's your actual confirmation from the original zone here, in which case you were fine either way. So depending on Russell, how you drew it, how aggressive you were, ideally NQ is a much better looking trade, and actually YM looked better as well. You can see, look at Russell with the whips back and forth. So interesting morning as far as opening print goes. So definitely interesting morning. All right, well that's it today. Again, it's Tuesday, but it's technically Monday, right? Tuesday Monday, however you want to say it. We can make something up. Tuesday Monday. Setups are going to look weird today because again we didn't have any U.S. trading yesterday, but everybody else is on day 2, so the volume is going to be a little bit scrambled. It is what it is. So, oh well. All right, let's get into our drawing. So, our drawing is reset again. Neuro won his 3 last week, so obviously we go back again. Right? Otherwise, it'd be impossible for anybody to win. You just keep dumping more and more chips into it. So it's fresh. Everybody's going. No, you cannot have that, buddy. This is not something to eat. Start it over again for the week. Let's close it down. Winner of today's drawing is Debbie. So Debbie, no, you cannot play with that. I have a bottle of what's it called? 3D printer resin, like for liquid 3D printer, and he wants it so bad, and it's inside of a plastic bag, so he thinks it's edible. But anyway, Debbie wins. Let's go to leaderboard. Give him 25 points for Debbie. So let's see. So Debbie's starting off strong for the week. So yeah, Debbie's starting off good. Yeah, look, you're starting to see, look, 4, 3, 8, 19. They're all starting to level back out. Even the dollar Swiss, it was up at 88. Now it's down to minus 52. They're starting to level out on this one, but yet the pound is continuing to rally. So yeah, things are kind of moving as they should be right now. Nothing earth shattering. So anyway, definitely watch tomorrow morning. It is a big one. Core PPI and retail sales tells a lot about what's coming. I'll tell you right now, everything's expected to be very, very negative, right? Everything's expected to be super negative. Yeah, you can have that, buddy. Again, if they offshoot these and these aren't as bad, could definitely be swaying the market one way or the other tomorrow. So, all right. Wow, look at this. I'll have to show this to Melissa. Canada's inflation rate slows to 6.3, but grocery prices are still nearly twice. Ouch. Yeah, not loving that one. All right. With that said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys 9:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Looking for some good news. Hopefully get some big movement, and we'll go from there. So thank you for joining today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks. Take care.